Hello and good morning. Welcome back to the 5-Cent Cigar Newscast. I'm Adam Zangari. Thank you so much for joining us. Coming up this week, we have an update on URI's guidelines for masks and a look at how URI emergency management has handled this winter. And of course, as always, make sure to stick around for your Rhody Sports Corner. The University of Rhode Island recently changed their guidelines on wearing masks on campus, loosening the mandate on wearing masks indoors in non-academic settings. The university made the announcement in an email sent out to community members on March 2nd. With more, here's Imani Fleming.
Beginning last Friday, March 4th, URI's COVID-19 task force and university leadership are no longer requiring students to wear masks indoors, with a few exceptions. The university has pledged to monitor the state of the pandemic throughout Rhode Island and on campus, while still following CDC and Rhode Island Department of Health guidelines, noting their right to reinstate restrictions as needed. Assistant Director of Communications Dave LaValle tells us more about this decision.
We've relaxed, a good part of the mask mandate, but we still are requiring them in spaces where there is direct academic instruction and research.
LaValle says the health and safety of all URI community members remains the top priority despite this change.
So that's been a central part of the conversation is what do we do that can continue to protect the health and safety of our campus, but also try to return ourselves to, as normal an environment as possible.
Rumors speculating the end to the mask mandate on campus unfortunately have no truth to them.
I want to emphasize that there have been no decisions since that last statement. The current practice is, teaching and learning spaces, classroom spaces, research and laboratory spaces, masks are still required. We are where we are because people really, really committed to being part of a healthy community and got the shots, got the boosters, and then followed the protocols when they did either test positive or became ill.
LaValle believes all URI community members should continue following and practicing the normal preventative measures against the coronavirus.
We still want people to exercise caution and just be cognizant of the environment that you're in and what the potential for exposure is. If you do those things, you'll probably be okay.
According to LaValle, the university wants to encourage all those students planning any spring break travel to adhere to all CDC guidelines and mask regulations wherever they may go to ensure a safe and full return back to campus. Reporting from the Memorial Union, I'm Imani Fleming, 5-Cent Cigar News.
With URI being hit by more snowstorms and ice storms over this winter, URI's emergency management team has had to adapt in order to help the students in the harsher weather. Erin Brown has the story.
The University of Rhode Island has faced a semester of unpredictable weather, with 1 week being in the 60s and the next week a snowstorm. I talked to Emergency Management Director Samuel Adams to learn how URI is adapting.
And it's been challenging that the regularity of getting something almost once a week has been made really difficult because while our first priority is always everybody's safety. The thing that's really different this year, which has been a dream of mine as long as I've been in this role, is that in years past, when we had made a decision about canceling classes, it was either you have class or you don't. Because of the pandemic, we now have this really robust setup for doing remote learning. And so for the first time, you have the ability to make a different choice. And so like this past storm was something new, which is the provost's office academic affairs made the decision really early. So it gave faculty plenty of time to set up online lessons if they wanted to for Friday. And that worked out really well because the forecast is really clear. Sometimes you don't really know until the night before or even the morning of if it's really bad enough to change course. But that allowed us to not lose another Friday worth of classes.
But even with new technologies like Zoom, snow days will not be a thing of the past.
And we actually did the Zoom option this last time, which I think is actually it may be the first. It's one of the first times we've done it. It's certainly the first time we've announced it that far in advance. But for the blizzard and a couple of other events, we've canceled classes. And the reason is that if we have a storm where there's a good potential for a power outage, we are more likely to cancel classes, because at that point, with the power out, students on campus aren't going to be able to get online in many cases, or they're going to have difficulty. And students that are coming in, that are at elsewhere off campus and don't have power aren't going to be able to do online classes. And also in something like a blizzard, where a lot of daycares and schools are closed, then you've got issues with faculty members with children that are supposed to teach while they're stuck at home with their kids. So going remote is not the panacea that we'd like it to be. It doesn't solve everything, but it's nice to have that option.
Erin Brown, 5 Cent Cigar News.
And now over to Zach Austin with your Rhody Sports Corner.
Thanks, Adam. Hello and welcome back to another edition of your Rhody Sports Corner. After a record-breaking 22-win season and a second-place finish in the Atlantic 10 Conference, Rhody women's basketball traveled to Delaware to compete for the conference title. Waiting for them in the quarterfinal round were the St. Joseph's Hawks, a team that the Rams bested 58-48 back in February. With a trip to the semifinals on the line, the team hoped to rise to the occasion in the rematch. With coverage from Wilmington, here's Aniekan Okon.
It wasn't the stay that the Rams were hoping for here in Wilmington. After one game, they'll be heading back home after an upset 51-48 loss to St. Joe's Friday night.
After holding a 4-point lead into the half, the Rams were outscored 20-8 in the third quarter. They were able to cut the deficit to 2 late in the game, but it wasn't enough.
They outplayed us today. They came with incredible effort. Tough kids, hard-nosed kids, so all the credit to them.
Freshman duo Layla Fair and Taylor Brugler played a big part in the Hawks' effort as the two combined for nearly half of the team's points.
Yesterday they were double-double. They both had 20. Fair and Brugler both had 20 in the paint. Today they attacked us in the paint as well. And so those kids, they've really matured, really well coached and very disciplined.
Despite the loss, the team's season may not be over, as they could potentially hear their names called at next Sunday's WNIT selection show.
I want to give them one more shot at getting a couple wins under the belt and feeling that good taste in their mouth, because right now they got that horrible taste in their mouth. And so I look forward to it. I'm always ready for another game. Got to regroup them and get their heads right and get them ready. And hopefully we get to go to postseason.
Outside of Chase Fieldhouse, I'm Aniekan Okon, 5 Cent Cigar Sports.
And let's take a look at the rest of your scores around Kingston. Baseball was swept by Auburn this weekend in a 3-game series. Softball went 1-4 this weekend in the spring games, including a win against Georgetown. Tennis fell 4-3 to Stony Brook at the International Tennis Hall of Fame. And congratulations to Tyler Rubish, Liam Creeley, Colin Oakes, and Kellen Waters for breaking the 4x800 relay at the IC4A Championships. That's it for this week's Rhody Sports Corner. Back to you.
That's all we have for you this week at the 5 Cent Cigar Newscast. As always, make sure to check us out at rhodycigar.com and follow us on Twitter at rhodycigar. Reporting from Kingston, I'm Adam Zangari. Stay safe, Rhody.